Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 Luncheon and Survey presentation for the Kinder Institute for Urban Research.
What makes a city great? Is it a dynamic population, a robust housing system, or promoting excellence in education? Is it community health or economic mobility for all? At Rice University's Kinder Institute for Urban Research, it is all connected. Founded in 2010 at Rice University, the Kinder Institute has earned national attention for its work to understand the greater Houston region and to find solutions to our biggest challenges.
Different property tax rate.
We remain committed to data, research, engagement, and action that advances quality of life. At the Kinder Institute, research is a public good that makes a difference. Under 5 key centers, we conduct partnership research, not for the sake of research, but for the betterment of our city and our residents. We work hand in hand with decision makers, creating paths to enhance wraparound services, expand access to education, and to improve career and technical education programs. We support efforts around financial stability, workforce development, the affordable housing system, and mental health. We empower researchers and community stakeholders to help them make informed decisions through data initiatives.
Each cell here you can see zoomed in.
While doing this type of work does have a cost, generous donors help us provide this research at no cost to community partners. And the need for philanthropic support continues.
Advance early childhood learning will only allow us.
At the Kinder Institute, we believe in the opportunity for everyone to contribute to the success and to share in opportunities across communities. Continuing the legacy of co-founder Stephen Kleinberg, the Greater Houston Community Panel now includes nearly 8,000 Harris County residents, making it possible to understand local attitudes, experiences, and beliefs at a neighborhood level. To drive critical conversations towards solutions, Kinder Institute forums showcase national experts.
What you've been doing before.
And the Urban Edge digital platform shares stories and perspectives about the issues facing the region. And to grow the next generation of researchers and leaders, the Kinder Institute pairs Rice University students with nonprofits through its Community Bridges program. Each year, the Kinder Houston Area Survey brings us the latest information and insights, allowing us to say with confidence that this is a great city. A city committed to making our lives better. Embracing all races, ethnicities, nationalities, and creeds, ensuring access to adequate shelter, closing achievement gaps, and providing educational support, creating purpose-built environments for engagement and healthy living, opening doors for building wealth and caring for our loved ones. At the Kinder Institute for Urban Research, our vision is inclusive prosperity. And we believe the future is only getting brighter.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here standing in for the incredible Melanie Lawson, and I guess I misunderstood her a bit. She told me this was a massive dance party. And Mr. Kinder, they tell me you're an excellent dancer. He's just laughing, I understand. Welcome, everybody, to the Kinder Institute for Urban Research and Annual Luncheon. I am Samika Knight, in for the incredible Melanie Lawson, and I'm honored to serve as the Mistress of Ceremonies. Today, we welcome more than 1,000 people at today's luncheon. There are a lot of people here, and it is a big event indeed, and we certainly are grateful for you being here. I want to first acknowledge all of our very distinguished guests, political leaders, Rice University trustees, and the Kinder Institute Advisory Board members who are here today. In fact, please stand. We would like to thank you for all of the work that you do. Thank you again. The Kinder Institute plays an incredible, important role in the Houston community, far beyond the city limits, and often, in many ways, we don't even realize. The video we just saw told some of the story, and today we certainly hope that you will leave with an even deeper understanding of how the Kinder Institute's work impacts all of us, really. As the Kinder Institute continues to expand, so does our knowledge and understanding of our community. And through your generous support, you are helping to advance the Kinder Institute's mission to build better cities and also improve so many lives. Well, as we begin, I'd like to invite Chris C., pastor of Ecclesia Church, to the stage to give our invocation.
Thank you all for being here. If you're anything like me, you find that you're really excited to be in this room. I'm excited to be in this room because I love my city. And to be in a room with 1,000 people that also love my city is significant. Like many of you, I don't just love this city, I feel called to it. I pastor Ecclesia here in town, and we have 3 campuses, downtown and Memorial. I live in Sharpstown, we have one in Lindale Heights. But I have a legacy here. My dad and grandfather were both pastors in this city. In fact, we learned after we moved into the building we were in downtown that we never knew what it originally was, but my grandfather's last job before he became a pastor was working in the former factory, paper factory, that my church now lives in and dwells in. And we have history here. And so I want to invite you to join with me in a prayer. In fact, if you would you just stand where you are, and we're going to ask God to bless each and every one of you and the work that we get to experience and hear today. God, I thank you for the people in this room. I thank you for our excitement because we are in a room with people that love our city. We thank you especially for the legacy of Stephen Kleinberg, for the work and the passion of Ruth Turley, for the generosity of the Kinder family that seeks to be a blessing to our city. And we pray that the things that we learn here today would not just be facts that enter into our head and flow through our ears, but it would be information that would lead us to action, that would lead us to actions of love and grace, that would make our city better, that would ensure that our kids are well educated and well fed, that all people have an opportunity to thrive, that this city would continue to be a lighthouse for all people, respecting all who will work, whether you're a migrant or a native Houstonian. We ask today that what happens in this room would actually make this city better and improve the lives of people that you love. May all that we learn here ultimately be a blessing. Would you bless our food and the conversations we have around this table? We pray this prayer together as a city, and we pray it in your name. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen. God bless you. You can have a seat.
Thank you so much, Pastor C. And before we get too far into today's program, we should take just a moment to acknowledge exactly who and what we are talking about when we say our city. I'm sure all of us here knows just how much geography the phrase Greater Houston can mean. And today we will hear more about the transformation of the Kinder Institute and the survey. And one of the landmark features of the Kinder Institute's annual luncheon is the presentation, of course, of the Kinder Houston Area Survey results. What I love so much about this presentation is how it demonstrates our region's diversity as well as our political, community, and business leadership, and its focus on our residents, and how the survey both informs and also connects all of us on a personal level to our diverse beliefs and attitudes, that is, about our city and each other. It is also pretty encouraging reminding us that our community is always, 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 as we know, evolving, and that each of us can be part of making this a great place to build our lives. So making a difference for Greater Houston and the people who live here is exactly why the Kinder Institute works so closely with community partners. And now those partnerships include United Way of Greater Houston, the Houston Housing Authority, and also the Harris Center for Mental Health. So grateful for that. Effective partnerships usually start pretty close to home, right? And the Kinder Institute's ties with Rice University are a prime example of that. This invaluable relationship not only amplifies the Institute's capacity to do so many great things, it also helps connect Rice's resources with the greater Houston community. Working collaboratively, the Kinder Institute and Rice University are showing how Houston can be a model, a great model, by the way, for urban innovation and effective research partnerships. And representing Rice University today, Dr. Amy Didmar, a distinguished scholar with an extensive background in economics, finance, and university administration. And I mean that. Have you guys read her bio? Goodness. Dr. Didmar is a scholar of corporate finance, governance, and gender economics. I talked to her backstage and I said, "You are brilliant." Well, she won the Law and Economics Consulting Group Award for Best Paper in Corporate Finance at the 2007 European Finance Association Conference, and then won Best Paper at the 2001 Financial Management Association European Conference. She has published numerous papers in top journals, and her work has been cited, get this, more than 10,000 times. Wait, let me rewind that. Her work has been cited more than 10,000 times. Incredible, right? Yeah. Dr. Didmar, yes indeed, is the Howard R. Hughes Provost and Executive Vice President for Rice University. Please join me in welcoming Provost Amy Didmar to the stage. You're brilliant.
Well, thank you, Samika. Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today, representing Rice University in this incredible room of people. When I saw the list of people who were going to be here today, city officials, business leaders, leaders who represent some of the best academic and medical institutions, and many, many more, I was encouraged and eager to be here. And of course, part of that is because I'm reminded once again how strong Houston is and how important and unique the Kinder Institute is to Rice University and this great city. Rice has always been at the forefront of innovation. This year marks the 55th anniversary of the moon landing, and many of you may recall that President John F. Kennedy's inspiring moonshot speech was made right there at Rice Stadium in 1962. But since that time, the university has worked to elevate research and innovation to the highest level of human knowledge and ingenuity. Today, we are leveraging our world-class Nobel Prize-winning community, dynamic interdisciplinary institutes, partnerships with leading public and private organizations to create breakthrough solutions and make vital contributions to human well-being. Together, we, and by that I mean all of us in this room, are working to make Houston a leading city in our nation. And many across the nation and the globe are taking notice. Forbes recently included Rice University on its list of new Ivies, making significant milestone and enhancing our appeal to the students around the world. This influential business magazine surveyed hiring managers to help identify a cohort of universities that produce top graduates who are valued by the workforce. On top of that, Rice is also the most affordable private school on the list. That's both according to our own analysis as well as quoted in CNBC, making a high-quality, student-centered, personalized education accessible to all qualified admitted students. It takes a well-positioned university like Rice to help build a great city, and with that comes great leadership, which we have no shortage of here in Houston or in this room. The Honorable John Whitmire, who recently took office as mayor, was meant to be with us today. But as you can imagine, he is focused on our city's efforts, and we certainly support him in that. So to help me to present today the Stephen L. Kleinberg Award, which recognizes community impact and leadership, I welcome back to the stage our wonderful MC, Samika Knight.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. And first, I ask that we take a moment to remember the memory and the legacy of a former honoree, the Reverend William Lawson, who was honored in 2020 with his passing, indeed. Yeah. And with his passing, Houston and the nation really has lost an incredible friend and a pastoral leader. Well, known as Houston's pastor, Reverend Lawson's reach extended well beyond the church he founded, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. And we remember the civil rights icon, and we are so very, very grateful for his impact in Houston and the nation. And of course, our hearts go out to the Lawson family. We at ABC 13 have been saying all week, we love you, Mel. Houston is the beneficiary of great leaders like Reverend Lawson. And to recognize the efforts of these exemplary individuals, the Kinder Institute bestows the Stephen L. Kleinberg Award, which is named in honor of the co-founder of the Kinder Institute for Urban Research, Dr. Stephen Kleinberg. The Kleinberg Award is presented each and every year to an individual who has had a lasting and indelible impact on Houston. Like the mission of the Kinder Institute itself, the honoree is focused on helping to build a better Houston and a better life for all. In Houston, healthcare is an integral part of our community at every single level, and we know that. Well, community here, and not only in our economy, not only is it driven by it, we as residents benefit from our proximity to world-class medicine, but our families and friends serve across all facets of our healthcare system. And this year, the Stephen L. Kleinberg Award is presented to Dr. Marc L. Boom. He's the president and CEO of Houston Methodist for his outstanding leadership in healthcare. So interested in medicine at an early age, Dr. Boom almost became a veterinarian. But we are so thankful, well, all of us humans are thankful that he found his way to primary care. Starting at the University of Texas with a bachelor's degree in biology, he moved on to Baylor College of Medicine for his MD and then to a residency at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. Following that, a fellowship of internal and geriatric medicine at the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. And while in Philadelphia, and realizing he had an interest in the business of healthcare, he earned his MBA from the Wharton School. And then in 1997, he returned to Houston and began his career at Methodist. And aren't we glad he returned? Yes, I heard a woo. I agree. Dr. Boom has served in many different roles within the organization, but his role as CEO stands out as exceptional. During his tenure, the name was changed to honor our great city, and Houston Methodist, one of the founding institutes in the Texas Medical Center, has now grown tremendously, both externally in size and structure, and internally through purposeful culture. With strong parents as a role model, it is no wonder he was able to lead with such composure in unprecedented times, and you know what I'm talking about, through the pandemic, right? Before presenting the award, please join me in watching this very special video tribute to showcase Dr. Boom's leadership and his passion.
My passion, my focus as a physician is how do we provide care to patients that is so centered on them. I always talk about unparalleled safety, quality, service, and innovation. Unparalleled means we're never going to be satisfied tomorrow with where we were yesterday. We are going to drive to be the absolute best in everything we do. Just the beginning of this month, I actually celebrated my 27th year working at Houston Methodist. I've been CEO for the last 12 plus years. I still maintain a small clinical practice. It's a great honor and a great privilege to do that. It keeps me as a CEO connected to the passion and purpose of why we're all in healthcare, and quite frankly, it lets me just have wonderful one-on-one relationships. You know, it's been an eventful 12 years. We knew that we were on the threshold of becoming truly one of the great hospital systems anywhere in the country. When I became CEO, we had just under 14,000 employees. Today we have over 32,000 employees, so we've grown tremendously. One of the things I'm most proud of is actually our culture, which is really the bedrock of who we are. It's been very gratifying. Out of about 170 or 180 hospitals, we rank number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the country. I'm really proud of those results that we've all been able to achieve because of such a great team of people who work at Houston Methodist. You know, I have no doubt that when I look back, the thing I'm sure I will remember most vividly were those COVID times, particularly some of the early, really difficult times. Houston Methodist is structured as an independent academic medical center. COVID was sort of a proof point for why that structure works so well. We are nimble and effective. When COVID happened, we were able to mobilize. We were able to be a site for many, many clinical trials. We did numerous things, from having a COVID test before almost anybody did, to more COVID vaccines administered in the state of Texas than any other institution, and to our vaccine mandate, which ultimately led the way for countless healthcare systems to do the right thing to protect patients across the United States. You know, when you think about public health and you think about the U.S. health system, on one hand, we are the envy of healthcare around the world. We have people come to Houston Methodist from well over 90 countries every single year. It's a very significant part of what we do. But on the other side, if you don't have access, and access really means coverage and insurance in the United States, it's a totally different story. Most solutions are not easy to find, but they're there. We can't do it alone. Other institutions in the Texas Medical Center can't do it alone. What we do is dramatic. We provide hundreds of millions of dollars, somewhere around $500 million each year in charity care at cost to people in need, and we're very, very proud of that. In addition, between research and education and other community benefits, we provide something on the order of $1.2 to $1.3 billion in total benefit to the community. I first moved to Houston when I was 14 years old. I just absolutely adore this city. It is an amazing city. Why? Because it is such a warm, welcoming city. It is a city where if you are driven and you want to succeed, you can succeed. And it's a city that wears its diversity on its sleeve and embraces its diversity, is leading the way for the rest of the country in all of the beauty, all the exciting things that come from us being a city like that.
And his impact on Houston is far-reaching, and we are so grateful for all of the care that he has taken for our community. Please help us congratulate Dr. Marc L. Boom.
Wow, thank you. I bet the best part of that is my daughters are there feeling really awkward watching all of that today. Good afternoon. I am deeply, deeply humbled to accept this 2024 Stephen L. Kleinberg Award. You know, being acknowledged with an award named after Stephen Kleinberg, somebody whose lasting impact I deeply, deeply admire, holds immense significance to me. I want to thank Ruth for her visionary leadership, which has been instrumental in shaping the Kinder Institute and the indispensable force that it is today. And of course, under her guidance, the Institute is a beacon of hope, bringing attention to many critical issues that we've seen up here today, such as housing, education, economic mobility, community health, and population dynamics. I also want to thank Rich and Nancy Kinder. Your unwavering support and foresight in creating and nurturing the Kinder Institute has paved the way to touch the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands in our city. And to all of you gathered here today, I am profoundly grateful for this honor. I accept it with very deep appreciation for the hard work, the dedication, the sacrifice of my coworkers at Houston Methodist. They're the reason that I'm standing up here today. And I must acknowledge what it took to get here. We all endured a global pandemic that none of us would have ever imagined or had experienced in our lifetimes. And our team trusted the science and blocked out all of the outside noise and stayed nimble and were able to adapt to the situation as it rapidly changed. And then we made tough decisions when we needed to, and we stuck to them, remaining steadfast. As you know, our physicians, our nurses, our healthcare workers were there to care for our community and our patients when things were very uncertain, oftentimes putting their own lives at risk and certainly on hold. We treated tens of thousands of patients from our community, and in order to protect those patients, ourselves, and the families we would go home to at night, we decided to mandate the vaccine for our employees and physicians. And we stood tall under very immense pressure, but our employees and our doctors rallied to do the right thing for our community, together, totally courageous. We were sued, we were criticized, we were questioned, and still we knew we needed to trailblaze and protect others and lead by example, always staying true to our sacred obligation to care for our community and to keep our patients safe. Because our team was vaccinated, they were able to be, thank you. Because our team was vaccinated, they were there and they were able to care for patients with COVID-19 and patients with other illnesses. We never closed a single bed. We never laid off or furloughed any of our staff. We were all in. And sadly, we also experienced firsthand the unnecessary conflict that's in our society today that hinders so much progress. As a result of these experiences, I speak out regularly about adopting an and mentality, embracing diversity in all of its forms, including diversity of thought, so that we make the very best decisions. And too often, our world is predicated on an or mindset. But when we all think in terms of an and, everybody wins. This award and the wonderful work of the Kinder Institute are reminders that caring for others matters and working together makes a difference. I'm also keenly aware of the esteemed company I will join today as a recipient of this award. Actually, I thought it was a mistake when I first got the email. I'm following in the footsteps of remarkable individuals such as former Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, Dr. Ann Chow, who's here today, and of course the late Reverend William Lawson, who we sadly lost last week and saw that lovely, or heard about that lovely tribute. Their legacies inspire me and our teams to strive for excellence and to make meaningful contributions to our community. I'm also here today because of the unwavering support of my family. My parents, John and Monique Boom, my in-laws, Marcia and Doug Newport, are here today. And two of our three children were able to be here today. Our oldest, Catherine, is actually on vacation for a week at home from her pediatrics residency at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And our youngest, Janie, is actually graduating from high school this Thursday. And we'll head to Georgetown in the fall. I am so very proud of both of you and your brother, who is in New York and could not be with us today. And most importantly, of course, my wife, Julie, the love of my life. My family challenge and inspire me, and most importantly, keep me grounded, mostly by never letting me forget that while I may be the CEO at work at Houston Methodist, Julie is the CEO at home. I literally caught her reciting that to one of my children when they were 2, so it gets indoctrinated very early. I'm also deeply grateful for my other family, the 32,000 wonderful people, my board members and direct colleagues who are here today from Houston Methodist, where collaboration and innovation thrive, where we place patients at the center of everything we do, and where we continually strive for excellence in leading medicine. I often tell my coworkers at Houston Methodist that working in medicine is a sacred calling, and I believe that with all of my heart. Finally, I'm thankful to live in a city where institutions like the Kinder Institute exist, dedicated to driving and fostering equity, building a more enriching and vibrant Houston for all. Once again, thank you very much for this incredible honor.
I tell you what, the biggest smiles in this entire room, Dr. Boone's table. Awesome. Congratulations to you again, Dr. Boone. And on behalf of the Kinder Institute, we appreciate all that you have done and continue to do for Houston. We certainly thank you so much. Well, we would like to take a moment to also thank the many partners who invest in Houston. Your support of the Kinder Institute is invaluable and allows the Institute to continue important research and also expand its reach through new programs and initiatives. And a special thank you to our presenting sponsors at the chairman's level. These include Bracewell, Centerpoint, HEB, Heinz, the Kinder Foundation, Tom and Laura Bacon, and Houston Methodist, of course. Well, as you all continue to enjoy your lunch, I can actually hear the forks a little bit. Please take a moment to view the full list of sponsors listed in your program and showing on the screen here. And know that their contribution and your contribution as well helps us to know and serve our city better every single day. And we're going to take a really quick break, and we'll return shortly to hear about the 2024 Kinder Houston Area Survey results and about Houston of tomorrow. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. We are part of a remarkable 43-year journey, making the Kinder Houston Area Survey the longest running survey of its kind. It's a privilege to carry forward the legacy Steve Kleinberg set in motion back in 1981 when I was a first grader. Let's pause for a moment to reflect on today's rising first graders. These young minds will be the high school graduating class of 2036, a milestone year when Houston will commemorate its bicentennial. What kind of Houston will greet them as they step into adulthood? Will our city be an inclusive city full of opportunities for everyone? And what are we doing today to make sure this happens for them? Let's explore these questions together as we consider the Houston of tomorrow, the theme for this year's Kinder Houston Area Survey. We asked residents not only to think about their desires and concerns for today, but also about their desires and concerns for the future. My hope is that this information will help us not only to prepare for the future, but also to shape it. We all have a role to play in making sure that the Houston of tomorrow is even better than today. And we at the Kinder Institute want to inform those efforts. So, before I share survey highlights, I want to make sure you all are aware of the quality of the information you are receiving. This year, we reached out to a panel of nearly 8,000 Harris County residents, all carefully selected to reflect our county's demographics. Despite more than doubling the number from last year, we still had a high response rate of over 70% and reached the highest number of respondents in the survey's 43-year history. This significantly higher number of respondents allowed us, for the first time, to conduct analyses not only about Harris County as a whole, but also about 30 neighborhood areas. Please join me in thanking our remarkable survey team under the leadership of Dr. Dan Potter. Now for the survey's highlights. We began by asking residents to identify the biggest challenge facing the Houston area today. Here are the three most commonly selected. The first is crime and safety, which was selected by 1 in 4 Houston area residents. Now, even though it was the most commonly selected concern, it was not selected by a majority like it was 30 years ago when 3 out of 4 residents chose crime and safety as their biggest challenge. Still, concern over crime and safety has been on the rise since 2020, and the perception of crime is very important because it affects our behavior. Having said that, actual crime rates, which are challenging to capture, seem to have been decreasing even as concern has been increasing. One exception to that is auto theft, which increased by 36% since 2015 and may account for some of the growing concern. Importantly, concern with crime and safety does not mean that Houston area residents are dissatisfied with local law enforcement. In fact, a majority of Houston area residents said that they are satisfied with local law enforcement, and only 16% expressed dissatisfaction. However, ratings differed by neighborhood area, with more positive ratings in areas such as Greater Tomball and Klein, and more negative ratings in areas such as Greenspoint and IAH, as well as Aldine Northwest and Cypress Creek. And a majority of residents in these areas with lower ratings said that a greater presence of law enforcement would help them feel safer. The second most commonly identified concern is housing affordability. 1 in 5 residents identified the cost of housing as the biggest problem facing our area today. Until recently, the Houston area was considered to be one of the most affordable metros in the nation. For decades, the median home price in Houston was about 3 times what the average person earned in a year. But now, it's 5 times what the average person earns in a year. That is a huge change in a very short amount of time. As a result, we are now a majority renter city where nearly 60% of households rent instead of own. And as you know, this has many implications for their ability to build wealth. And among renter households, a majority of them are spending more than 30% of their income on housing. This puts them at a very vulnerable financial position, which brings me to the third most commonly selected challenge for us today, and that is the economy. 1 in 5 residents identified the economy as the biggest problem facing the Houston area today. Unfortunately, more and more residents are saying that they struggle financially. For example, there was an increase in the percentage of residents saying they could not come up with $400 in an emergency, up from 42% last year to 46% this year. So almost half of our fellow Houstonians would be devastated by an unexpected $400 bill. I spent that much when my teenager broke his finger playing night football with his friends. Apparently, it's hard to see the ball at night. So he's here today, by the way. An unexpected $400 bill can happen easily. Corresponding with this increase in financial instability, more and more residents view government assistance as essential. Nearly 2/3 of Houston area residents said that those who receive welfare really need the help. This is very different from when this question was first asked in 1995. In fact, it was the opposite. Back in 1995, nearly 2/3 of residents said that those receiving welfare were taking advantage of the system. Now, a majority of residents view government assistance as essential, and they want to see proactive steps taken to help to close income gaps. In addition, Houston area residents display a growing awareness that not everyone has the same chances to succeed. We asked residents if they thought Black people and other minorities have the same opportunities as white people. 57% disagreed. This view has increased by more than 20 percentage points in just the last 10 years. And there was a particularly large increase between 2020 and 2022, corresponding to the social unrest all around the nation when George Floyd was killed. These 3 biggest concerns, crime and safety, housing affordability, and the economy, have seen very significant shifts over time. But there are 2 other shifts that I want to highlight for you that I think are important for our community. The first is a shift in religious affiliation. Back in 2009, we learned that over 80% of Houston residents identified as Christian, with 54% saying they were Protestant and 31% Catholic. Since then, the number of those identifying as Christian has declined steadily. This year, 64% of Houston area residents identified as Christian. The most notable drop was among Protestants, which decreased to 38%, and Catholics decreased to 26%. Interestingly, as the percentage of Christians declined, it has not been met with an increase in other religions. Instead, it has been met with an increase of the nuns. That's N-O-N-E-S, not N-U-N-S. When asked about their religious affiliation, about 27% of Houston area residents selected none. Another shift that I want to highlight is support for public education funding. Now, although we generally don't want to pay more taxes, public education funding is one prominent exception. Houston area residents increasingly want to invest more in public education. We first asked this question about public education funding back in the early 1990s. And at that point, residents were split about evenly, with half saying that schools have enough funding, and the other half saying that schools need more funding in order to provide a high-quality education. This year, 70% of residents said schools need more funding. And they are right. We now have estimates of how much funding is needed for each school district in Harris County. We have estimates of funding gaps. That's the difference between how much funding they get minus how much funding they need. And we know that almost every school district in Harris County is underfunded. We also know that the school districts with the largest funding gaps, those are the districts that have the lower TEA student achievement ratings, especially those whose funding gaps exceed 40% of what they need. Those are the school districts that have the lowest TEA ratings. We've seen significant shifts in trends over time. Now I want to pivot to the future. As I mentioned earlier, this year's Kinder Houston Area Survey focuses on the Houston of tomorrow. And there's no better place to think about the future than Houston, because the nation's future happens here. In fact, the nation's demographics projected for the year 2050 are already here in Houston. So, we invited residents to reflect on the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. We began by asking about climate change. As we were reminded just a few days ago, extreme weather events are perhaps the most visible signs of our changing climate. In the 1980s, the country experienced $1 billion disaster, inflation adjusted, about every 16 weeks. Today, this happens every 3 weeks. And Harris County is among the most disaster-prone counties in the nation. Perhaps that is why a large majority of Houston area residents said that they are worried about climate change. And a large majority said climate change will likely have a negative impact on their health and well-being. And a large majority said that climate change will likely have a negative impact on their own financial situation. These concerns are shared across all groups and income levels, but they differed across neighborhood areas, with those in Greater Crosby and Huffman being the least concerned about climate change, and those in the Heights and Lazy Brook being the most concerned about climate change. And Houstonians are very aware of the impending impacts of climate change, and they want to see proactive steps taken. 70% said that government and large companies should play an important role, that they should do more to address climate change. And 57% said that they think that ordinary residents can do more to address climate change. The second topic about Houston's future is the energy transition. Houston is, of course, the energy capital of the world. But although we continue to help the nation set oil and gas production records, rivaling Saudi Arabia and Russia, we are also helping to accelerate the development of alternative energy. It is precisely because Houston dominates in oil and gas that Houston is poised to lead the nation and the world in the energy transition. And a majority of Houstonians agree. Nearly 3/4 think that Houston should prioritize the production of alternative energy, such as wind, solar, and hydrogen. And support is even higher among young adults who will be the ones leading these efforts in the decades to come. And over 80% of residents believe that the transition to alternative energy is absolutely necessary for Houston's economic future. The third topic about Houston's future is artificial intelligence, which is raising new concerns about automation and the future of work. While previous forms of automation largely affected blue-collar manufacturing workers, this technological change could affect nearly every type of job. Houston residents have widely varying knowledge and exposure to AI. In fact, it was about a third. So just under a third said that they had a lot of exposure to AI. Just over a third said they had some exposure to AI, and under a third said they had a little exposure to AI. And 7% said they knew nothing at all about AI. Now, in terms of actual use, 56% reported never having used AI tools such as ChatGPT or DALL-E. And 11%, only 11% reported using AI tools often. Not surprisingly, once again, younger adults were much more likely to report having used AI tools than older adults. Now, in terms of impact, almost half of Houston area residents expect AI will have a major impact on Houston's economy. But many believe that that impact will be mixed, with 40% saying that they expect AI to equally help and hurt the economy. Now, where there is overwhelming agreement is in the need to keep up with the changing technologies. Nearly 70% of Houston area residents said that they expected to need to learn new skills at work. So that's almost every one of us in this room. Get ready. Climate change, the energy transition, and AI are but a few of the domains facing Houston in the decades to come. The future holds significant challenges and opportunities, but Houstonians remain quite optimistic. In fact, 7 in 10 Houston area residents said they are excited about the new opportunities that will be available to them in Houston. We can't shape the future without first understanding our past and our present. This is why we will continue the Kinder Houston Area Survey and will work to make it even better and more accessible to everyone. This is also why the Kinder Institute consists of 5 research centers that use data from our surveys and many other sources to produce research that informs our community's efforts to improve lives. Our research agenda is co-developed with community partners, and our research findings are shared directly with them and with the broader community. All our data and all our research reports, including this year's Kinder Houston Area Survey, are available on our website at kinder.rice.edu. Our website even has a new data visualization tool that allows users to create their own maps of neighborhood-level indicators. All of this is available to everyone for free because we believe that in order to ensure Houston's future and to make sure that it is shaped by well-informed efforts, we must play a role in informing those efforts. But this doesn't mean that this work is free. In fact, it's very expensive. We rely on your support to keep this work going and expanding and having an impact. So I implore you to take this information and use it. And if there is anything else that we need to be doing to inform your efforts to improve our community, let us know. Thank you for being here and supporting our work.
I'm glad your son's okay. Thank you so much to Ruth, and thank you to everyone, by the way, at the Kinder Institute for Urban Research at Rice University, including the amazing team led by Rose Rougeau, who orchestrated this fantastic luncheon. Indeed. We want to say thank you to all of our guests and, of course, our sponsors for your continued support in joining us today. And each of you should have a copy of this year's Kinder Institute survey at your seat. So please be sure to take that with you. And, of course, you are welcome. Well, you know, you should probably talk to people at your table to make sure we're all on one accord here. But you are welcome to take home the beautiful floral arrangement on your table. And if you missed Mother's Day, now's your time, guys. And be sure, everybody, to save the date to join us for next year right here at the Hilton Americas Houston on May 19th. It's 2024. And have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.